Under Texas law, a prenuptial agreement is considered valid and enforceable so long as it is in writing, signed by both of the parties, was signed voluntarily by both of the parties, and meets certain requirements in regards to conscionability and disclosure. Under Texas law as well, a prenuptial agreement is presumed to be enforceable, which means the person who is challenging the validity of the agreement bears the burden of establishing that it is not in fact enforceable. The upshot of all that is that in Texas, prenuptial agreements tend to be very difficult to set aside. Not impossible, but there's generally an uphill battle when you're trying to challenge the validity of a prenuptial agreement. However, where we oftentimes see conflict in regards to prenuptial agreements isn't in whether the issue of whether they're valid and enforceable, but rather the interpretation of the terms and disagreements in regards to what specific provisions in the agreement mean and how they should be enforced. That's one of the reasons why it's very important if you've got a prenuptial agreement that you're wanting to put together in advance of a marriage, you have somebody who does a lot of work with prenuptial agreements, who isn't simply spitting out a form, but who is familiar with the specific terms and can help you tailor the prenuptial agreement that you need for your specific fact situation. It's not, it's still the exception rather than the rule to be dealing with a prenuptial agreement in a divorce case, but in situations where one or both of the families has significant wealth, or when folks are getting married later in life and each person is bringing significant assets into the marriage, it is becoming fairly common to see that in those instances. Prenuptial agreements can do a great deal in order to minimize the amount of expense and conflict that is involved when folks are getting divorced, but it's still important to make sure that you read all the fine print, you understand everything that you're getting into, and that most importantly, when a prenuptial agreement is sought to be enforced, your lawyers and your representatives are going through and making sure that every line is read and that every detail in there is looked at so that you can make sure that there's not anything that's being overlooked.